So you're thinking about diving into Chicago real estate. Smart move. But with all the headlines and market reports flying around, it can feel a little like, well, you need a map and compass just to figure out where to start. But that's why we're here, right? To cut through the noise and give you the insights you actually need.
You know what's really interesting about Chicago's real estate scene is that it's so much more than just those shiny new skyscrapers you see downtown.
Totally. And to guide us through this deep dive, we've got a true Chicago real estate veteran with us today, Michael Linton.
38 years of experience. This guy has seen it all. Boom times, downturns, everything in between.
38 years. Wow. So he's not just a broker, he's like a seasoned guide to this whole dynamic market. I have to ask, when we say Chicago real estate, it's easy to picture those iconic skyscrapers downtown. But what's the real story according to Michael? What's going on beyond those big buildings?
Linton says people might be surprised to hear that Chicago's real estate landscape is way more diverse than you might think. It's a city of neighborhoods. Each one's got its own vibe, its own character, its own potential.
I love that. So we're not just talking about the loop anymore.
Exactly. Think Fulton Market,
Yeah.
trendy lofts, once a meatpacking district, now it's restaurants, tech startups, the whole bit. Or those bustling industrial corridors you see around O'Hare. Logistics hubs feeding a global economy. It's fascinating.
So much happening beyond downtown. See, I'm already learning.
And it doesn't stop there.
Uh-huh.
Litton's also talks about the south and west sides, how there are a ton of emerging opportunities in those neighborhoods.
It's like people hear Chicago real estate and they think, oh, I need to have millions to invest. But that's not necessarily true, right?
And that's a key takeaway from Linton. Opportunities spread across the entire city. It's just waiting to be discovered. And this diversity, this whole tapestry of neighborhoods and possibilities, that's one of Chicago's biggest strengths, according to Linton.
It's like diversifying your portfolio, but on a citywide scale instead of putting all your eggs in one basket.
Precisely. Having options, from established areas downtown to these up-and-coming neighborhoods, it makes the market way more adaptable, more resilient.
Makes sense. A city that puts all its bets on just one neighborhood, that wouldn't be nearly as adaptable.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got this incredible tapestry of neighborhoods. But what are the trends that are shaping those stories right now? The things investors should be paying attention to?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And Linton lays out 5 major trends he says are defining the Chicago real estate scene right now. These aren't just abstract concepts either. These are forces shaping the city, driving investments. They're creating those opportunities.
5 major trends. All right, now you've got me hooked. Tell me about trend number 1.
All right, trend number 1. Linton says it's all about this rise of mixed-use developments. It's really changing how we think about neighborhoods.
Mixed-use developments. Okay, what does that actually look like? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so picture this. You're walking down the street, right? But instead of just seeing a block of apartments or a whole row of office buildings, you've got a mix of everything. Apartments, shops, maybe some cool restaurants, even office space, all kind of woven together.
So it's about creating these like vibrant little communities within the city.
That's the idea. And Litton's seen it firsthand in Pilsen. Used to be known for manufacturing, but now it's got art galleries, restaurants, even tech startups popping up all over, all thanks to this mixed-use approach.
Wow, so it's bringing in a whole different crowd.
Totally. You've got these young professionals wanting to live right near where they work, where all the action is. Creates this whole new energy.
That's fascinating. Makes those areas way more appealing to a wider range of people too, not just those who are working there 9 to 5.
Okay, so trend number 1. Mixed-use developments changing the city's fabric. What's trend number 2?
All right, this one might surprise some people. The evolution of office spaces.
Wait, hold on. I thought everyone was working from home now, in their pajamas. Are you telling me the office is indeed dead? Right. It's a common misconception. Linton says it's not about the death of the office. It's about how they're changing. Transforming, really.
Okay, so how are they transforming? What's the future look like?
Think high-tech. Think flexible. Companies are realizing that while, yeah, remote work has its place, having a physical space where people can actually get together, brainstorm, that's still incredibly valuable.
So it's less about cubicles, more about creating a space that people actually want to be in.
Exactly. And you're seeing these new office spaces popping up in areas that already have that energy,
Sure.
River North, West Loop, those kinds of places.
Those areas definitely have a certain vibe. All right, trend number 2. Office spaces are evolving, not going extinct. What's next?
Trend number 3 is all about sustainability. Really big one right now.
Okay, but beyond just the save the planet aspect, which obviously very important, Why does sustainability matter for real estate? Like, why should investors care about this?
Because it's not just a feel-good factor anymore. It's a smart business move. Think about it. Green buildings, they use less energy, which means lower operating costs in the long run. That's attractive to investors.
So it appeals to environmentally conscious tenants, and it can actually make the property more valuable.
Exactly. You're seeing more and more renters who are willing to pay more to live in a place that aligns with their values. They want to know that their building is minimizing its environmental impact and that demand is only going to grow.
Makes sense. Win-win for everyone. Good for the planet, good for the bottom line. All right, what's trend number 4? What else is on Michael's radar?
This one speaks to Chicago's history. Adaptive reuse, taking those grand old buildings, the ones that might seem outdated, and finding new life for them.
Oh, I love that. I've seen some amazing transformations, like old warehouses becoming these trendy loft apartments or
Yeah.
a former factory that's now this bustling food hall.
Right. Chicago is made for this. Linton says the city's architecture is a huge part of it. You've got these beautiful old structures that are just right for reimagining. And the best part is, you're not tearing things down to build something new. So it's inherently more sustainable, too.
It's like these buildings get a whole second act. Instead of facing demolition, they become even more a part of the city. Okay, we're on to trend number 5, the grand finale. What's Michael Linton's last big insight for us today?
This one's for anyone interested in multifamily properties, apartments, condos, that kind of thing. Linton says that sector is still going strong in Chicago.
Music to any investor's ears. But I'm guessing there's a but coming. There's always a but in real estate, right?
You know it. And in this case, the but is location, location, location. Multifamily market might be healthy overall, but Linton says you really got to focus on neighborhoods with the right ingredients, so to speak.
So not all neighborhoods are created equal when it comes to multifamily investments.
Exactly. Amenities are key, of course. But the big one Linton emphasizes is access to public transportation.
Because even if you've got a luxury high-rise, if it takes an hour to get anywhere, not exactly a selling point for renters.
Right. Location is still king, even in a dynamic city like Chicago.
This has been amazing. We've gone from these massive skyscrapers to trendy lofts, sustainable buildings, revitalized neighborhoods. It's a lot to take in, but it really highlights all the possibilities in this market. But before we get too caught up in all the positives, I have to ask, what about the challenges? It can't all be smooth sailing, can it?
You're definitely right about that. Every market has its challenges, and Chicago's no exception. In our next segment, we'll dive into what Michael sees as the potential hurdles investors need to be aware of. And, more importantly, how he helps his clients overcome them.
So we've talked about all the exciting trends shaping Chicago real estate, but like we said, every market has its challenges. What does Michael Linton say investors should be watching out for in this ever-evolving landscape?
Well, he's very aware of the risks, and he always stresses due diligence, especially now with how the economy's been. He uses the $22 billion in non-accrual loans, reported earlier this year as an example. A sign that, not everything's always sunshine and roses.
Wow, $22 billion. Okay, for those of us who don't speak fluent finance, can you break down what that means and why it should matter to us?
Basically, it means some borrowers are having trouble repaying their loans, which can snowball and impact everything from what your property is worth to how willing lenders are to give out loans. Investors need to be really careful.
So how does someone like Michael Linton, with all his experience, help people navigate that kind of uncertainty? What's the secret sauce?
Information strategy. Linton's big on data. His team digs deep into specific neighborhoods, vacancy rates, projected job growth, that sort of thing, instead of just looking at general market trends.
So it's all about the details, those micro trends.
Yeah. And it can make all the difference. Linton actually helped a client get funding for a property in the West Loop, even with all those non-accrual loan concerns. His team knew which lenders were still lending in the area and what kind of terms they were offering.
That's incredible. It's like having that insider knowledge is everything. What else makes Linton stand out?
Access to off-market opportunities. You're not competing with everyone else because these properties aren't publicly listed.
That sounds like a game changer. How do you even find those hidden gems?
It's about who you know and how well you know the market. Linton's spent decades building relationships. He often knows what's coming available before it's even listed.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It's powerful. But it's not just about finding those deals, it's knowing how to make them work. Linton's really strong when it comes to financing.
Which is huge. Chicago's got its own set of rules, especially when it comes to securing loans.
Exactly. And that's where Linton's team shines. They guide clients through it all, helping them get the best financing options, navigating all the zoning and permitting requirements. It can feel overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out.
So they're more like strategic partners than just brokers.
Absolutely. And you might think someone with Linton's history would shy away from technology, but that couldn't be further from the truth.
Really? That's surprising.
He loves using tech to benefit his clients. He uses all the data analytics, predicts valuations, assesses risk, even virtual property tours.
No way. So investors can visit properties without even being there.
Yep, 360-degree views, the works. It's the best of both worlds. Decades of experience, cutting-edge technology.
It's really impressive. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Chicago real estate with Michael Linton, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
That even though the Chicago real estate market has its ups and downs, the opportunities are definitely out there. It's about having the knowledge, strategy, and guidance to navigate it all. Michael Linton's a perfect example of that.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been so insightful. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Chicago real estate. We'll see you next time.